Guys, welcome back to the Prehistoric Life podcast. I'm your host, Eric Crawford. Ooh, click off that. And today we are doing the Maiasaura. Now, if you guys remember, this is Skywalker from the Dino-Mancer. This is her favorite dino. I am actually doing this as a quote-unquote Thanksgiving special. What does Maiasaura have to do with Thanksgiving? Just hear me out. This is going to sound like a stretch, but Maiasaura means caring/loving mother. And you spend time with family on Thanksgiving. Your mother usually counts as family. So, I don't know. It's probably just a stretch. Okay, so let's get into a description of this bad girl. So you got the very hadrosaur head. If you look closely, you can see that. Ooh, you can see that it is very much so pixelated, but it's got the beak kind of thing going on. It's got the little head. It's got the powerful back legs because it is slightly quadrupedal until it wants to run. Then it goes bipedal. As you can see, the front legs, kind of covered up by the baby here, are definitely a lot more able to make the dinosaur go up and down. You got the big old tail, probably for balance, the big old hadrosaur body for I was about to say balance, but just because it's a hadrosaur, and you got this little baby here because Maiasaura means caring/loving mother. Yeah, so let's just get into some hadrosaur facts. I guess not hadrosaur facts, but Maiasaur facts, or not facts, measurements. There we go. It was about 30 feet long, so about as long as Stegosaurus from last episode. It weighed about 3.3 tons, and it was about 15 feet tall. Its diet was mainly plants because it was a herbivore, so things like ferns, probably swamp plants, probably even, what would you call that? I was about to say limbs, but leaves that fall, bushes, berries, anything of that nature. So yeah, its fossils were found in North America, mainly Montana, the Two Medicine Formation. Medicine. It was a large herbivore. Sorry, it was a medium herbivore. It lived in large herds, lived in colonies, lived in, I don't want to say deserts, but kind of plains areas. Lived in herds as defense. Very vocal. Lived 65 to 99 million years ago. So that would have been late Cretaceous. That would have been the Maastrichtian kind of area. Late Campanian of the Cretaceous, and about the remains of over 200 individuals from newly hatched juveniles to adults, including nests. It was named by Jack Horner and Robert McKellar in 1979. Yeah, Maiasaura is pretty big. At up to 9 meters long, Maiasaura was not amongst the largest known hadrosaurid dinosaurs, though it still tipped the scale to be considered big for its kind. So it's still big, don't get me wrong. Like with its hadrosaur relatives, Maiasaura is thought to have been primarily bipedal dinosaur, though one that was at least capable of balancing, if not walking, upon its hind legs. The exact posture assumed was probably more dependent upon the Maiasaur in question was actually going on at the time. So if it was probably reaching up to get something, it would have been on his back legs. But if it was reaching down to get something, it would have been on all four legs. Kind of things like that. Maiasaura had a low crest on the top of its snout, and because it is solid, this indicates that Maiasaura was one of the Saurolopian hadrosaurs. So, interesting tidbit of information. It's got a little hadrosaur bump on the top of its head. That's cool to know. Maiasaur might appear to be a rather plain-looking hadrosaur, but it is really important. But the real importance is not its looks, but upon the remains of nests and members of the genus created. One of the most significant fossil sites associated with Maiasaur is an area that we know today as Egg Mountain. Here, a concentration of nests spread across a distance of around 7 meters from each other, each containing around 30 to 40, about 15 centimeters. What am I said? About 30 to 40 eggs, about 15 centimeters across. They found their multiple remains of Maiasaur scattered around them. Some of these remains were juveniles, too large to have hatched, with the undeveloped rear legs. The skull of juveniles also have very different proportions to those of the adults. This is quite common in vertebrates. Juveniles also have in addition to these remains of adult Maiasaurs, something that suggests that adults would not just lay their eggs and wander off, but stay close to the nest and their young for some time. Bearing in mind the underdeveloped rear legs of the younger juveniles, it's possible that a more precise scenario is that the adult Maiasaur would move away from the nest for short periods while they foraged to bring food back to the nest, while the hatchling became strong enough to walk around and forage for themselves. So kind of like a what would you call it? Like a modern day bird. Bird? Turkey. Hey, I don't know. I'm making wrong connections. So yeah, this thing probably walked around, foraged like modern day birds. It's got its name Good Mother, probably from this site where it found. So yeah, I mean, the sheer number of nest and Maiasaur fossils from the Egg Mountain site is proof that Maiasaur would congregate in large numbers during the nesting period. However, it remains impossible to say for certain how this genus lived when not nesting. It's not impossible that when Maiasaur was not nesting, they moved around in much smaller groups to reduce the impact on the ecosystem in a given area. More mouths in one place would after all cause more destruction to plants growing there, increase the amount of time necessary for the ecosystem to recover. Although hadrosaurids like Maiasaur might have been continually on the move and only stayed for short periods, such as nesting. So, if you don't understand what that means, they would set up a nest here, and they thought that they either stayed all in the nest and tried to forage around, or whenever they weren't nesting, they would scatter basically. So multiple herds would meet in one area to nest and walk around, and then they would break off into smaller herds to walk around. There'd be some here, 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 to kind of minimalize what was going on. A modern analogy to this would be some species of birds, particularly seabirds, where the effect can be most appreciated. Where during the year, seabirds will form small concentrations while loose bonds between individuals but will once a year congregate upon a single area where conditions are ideal for raising young. Due to the rarity of such places, a high number of birds move into a specific area that can give observers who are not familiar with the life practices of the birds during the remainder of the year the false impression that the birds always live in such high concentrations. So, like birds, like I was saying, most of the time they scattered. They're scattered. They live in maybe 1, 2, 3, possibly even up to like 10 birds at a time. So this probably goes for Maiasaur too. They live up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe even up to 10 Maiasaur at a time because strength in numbers. But during that breeding season, whenever they come to reproduce and lay their eggs, they would concentrate into one good area for raising young, and they would congregate in that area. It's probably, however, that Maiasaur and other hadrosaurids were not solitary creatures, uh, given that they have no obvious physical defenses from attackers by predators, such as thick armory plates for ankylosaurs. The best bet for Maiasaur to stay alive in a world of large predators would be to stay in groups from a few individuals to perhaps as many as dozens or even hundreds of individuals. This way, you would have more than one set of eyes for seeing predators, more than one nose for smelling predators, and more than one pair of ears for hearing predators. Although making it significantly harder for a predator to get in close for a surprise ambush, multiple individuals moving and calling out all at once would also make it significantly harder for a predator to single out a specific individual for attacking. So, if you remember, which interview was that? I was one during Hadrosaur month. I had to interview then. I want to say it was with Jason. Yes, I want to say it was with Fossil Fiends, Jason. So please go check out that interview. We talked about the Hadrosaur vocalization adaptation. So instead of getting a giant club on its tail and living alone, or big old thick plates, or sharp teeth and big claws, or Thagomizer like the Stegosaurus from last episode, it developed better communication. So it would live in herds. And if you hear 6 or 7 of these things honking at you, going, wah, 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 predator's gonna be like, what is going on? Why are these things all around me yelling at me? Like, so they developed a better vocalization to defend themselves. With the exception of Maiasaur, other hadrosaurs called Hypacrosaurus has also allowed paleontologists to look into nesting partners with this group of dinosaurs. Additionally, this hadrosaurid, along with another named Prosaurolophus, appear to have been present at roughly the same time and location as Maiasaura. It's possible that Maiasaura may have shared its habitat with its close relative Edmontosaurus. However, the earliest known species of Edmontosaurus are thought to be around 73 million years old, while known Maiasaur remains are dating 1 to 2 million years earlier. Not ago, but earlier than that. An alternative theory is that the larger Edmontosaurs may have replaced Maiasaur in the ecosystem, especially in the advent of larger late Cretaceous periods predators such as Albertosaurus and Tyrannosaurus dominating the landscape. So there were multiple, I was about to call these things sauropods, but they were hadrosaurs living in the same area, kind of like a mixed herd. And a leading theory is that Edmontosaur could have either replaced Maiasaur in the ecosystem because Edmontosaur was much bigger than it, and these creatures need to get bigger because of bigger predators. Or it could be that they live together, and Edmontosaur could have very well help defend Maiasaur. Other herbivores active around the same time and location as hadrosaurs, including centrosaurian dinosaurs such as Styracosaurus, Ankylosaurus, Ionosaurus, and Leptoceratops. So basically Ceratopsian. As well as armored dinosaurs such as Euoplocephalus and Edmontonia. Dinosaurs that may have been actually threats to Maiasaur, however, include the Troodon and the Daspletosaurus and the Gorgosaurus, which is another Tyrannosaurid. Maiasaur stands out as a name because it does not end with a rus, like the more familiar Saurus. This is because Maiasaura is intended as a feminine name, which is why it ends with Sora rather than the masculine Saurus. So Spinosaurus, Stegosaurus, Bistihivosaurus, Ankylosaurus, Nodosaurus, Tylosaurus, Enosaurus, Pachycephalosaurus, Corythosaurus, Shanatungosaurus, Lambiosaurus, Parasaurolophus. Well, not Parasaurolophus, but all of those other ones, they end in Saurus because they're more masculine in name, I guess. But since Maiasaur means good mother, it's probably a more feminine-like dinosaur in protecting its young and... Well, it means good mother, and mothers tend to be seen as a feminine trait. So, yeah. So, I got some Maiasaur vocalization. So let's give this a listen to, see what they sound like. Kind of like a little bit. So this is actually a great picture of Maiasaur, because you can actually see the slight crest on its head. You can see how much bigger its back legs are. You can see the large herd that it lives in, even some sauropods in the background. So that's actually a pretty good picture of Maiasaur. But, I mean, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. So, yeah. Remember, go check out the website. Here it is for anybody that's wondering. As you can see, Stegosaurus is not up at the time I am recording this. I just have not uploaded it yet. This is the interview with Sky, Hell Creek Hooligans, Dinosaur Cowboy, and with Sergey, the Russian archaeologist, Dromaeosaurus, and Rapatosaurus. So please go check that out. Go check out the Instagram where I try to post updates about things that are going on, how I present things. So hopefully sometime soon I'll be doing the unboxing video. For those of you who do follow me on Instagram, I will hopefully be doing the unboxing video for the winner of the skull vote. For those of you who don't know what was going on, I put up a vote to determine which dinosaur skull, Triceratops or Diplodocus, I should get the people that I interview as I meet them. I should get for them to sign it. And I will be showing that off hopefully here shortly. Not in this episode, but definitely in an episode coming soon. So please keep an eye out for that, and there will definitely be posts about that. So, I mean, till next time. Remember to check out the Instagram. Oop, I was in the middle of doing this. And the YouTube channel, where I try to post everything a little bit early to give y'all a little bit of a more access whenever you subscribe to that. So please go check that out. Thank you all so much. I'm your host, Eric Crawford, signing off. Remember, keep it prehistoric, and goodbye.